Hello, and welcome to Real Talk with Rachel. Today I'm examining how book bans hurt everyone. Let's start with defining what a book ban is. A book ban is an action taken against a book based on its content. The action of banning is spearheaded by a parent or a non parent or an organization or a community or lawmakers or even administrative staff at a school. Anyone who is concerned or not concerned at all about what young people these days are reading. Basically, anybody can move to ban a book, which is probably why we have so many book bans in this country. Here's a little secret. Sometimes book banners just want power over information young people have access to. Is that fair? Absolutely not. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. When a book is challenged, the first step of a ban, it's taken off the shelf of a school library or another library and reviewed. This could take weeks, which means students in those public schools are denied access to those challenged books for however long it takes for a committee to decide whether or not those books should be on the library shelves. If this collection of people decide the book should not be on the shelf for some arbitrary reason, such as the word abortion is mentioned, or a character in it has a rather steamy romantic encounter with their crush, or, heaven help us, it presents the indigenous people's history of America, then the book is banned. Book banning is a form of censorship. It's the result of people trying to control the access everyone has to books, not just the people in their lives or their own children. Some of the people moving to ban books don't even have children. When a book is banned, it can be removed from a school library or a classroom library. According to PEN America, more than 10,000 books have been targeted in public schools across the country, mostly books by authors of color, LGBTQIA+ authors, or women authors. Subjects of these banned books include sexuality, racism, history, gender, anything else that might strike fear in concerned citizens' hearts. 44% of these banned books feature characters of color, and 39% feature LGBTQIA+ characters. In the 2023-2024 school year, PEN America logged book bans in 29 states and 220 public school districts. Florida and Iowa lead the charge, with Texas close behind. I live in Texas. I think book bans are ridiculous. There, I said it. Book bans have always been around, of course, but since 2021, we've been seeing a dramatic increase because of religious and conservative groups trying to limit the control of information and thought. Book banning hurts everyone. When I was a kid, the school and public library were my best friends. I lived in a rural area. I loved books, but my family could not afford to buy them. My education happened in the library. When we remove books from the shelves, our education is incomplete. The kids and people who can't afford to buy books are the most negatively impacted. It's a justice issue. They have as much right to have access to a complete education as any of us do. And none of us has the right to say what that education can look like, unless we are the parent of a kid we don't want reading a particular book. No parent or person should have the right to control which books all students have access to in their schools. You can do it for your own child or teenager, but you can't do it for all children and all teenagers. Their minds and hearts don't belong to you. You may think, well, I don't have any kids in school and I'm not in school, so this doesn't affect me. Oh, but it does. Remember what I said? Book banning hurts all of us. When we have limited access to information and stories, our brains don't think as critically. When we don't have access to books that expand our minds and introduce us to new and illuminating concepts, our brains don't expand. Critical thought is necessary for our growth as human beings. There's another piece to this too. When we read stories about people who don't look like us, who live different lives than we do. We have the opportunity to wear their shoes for a while, to walk around in those shoes and examine what life is like for them, to really, really understand their perspective. This perspective taking is vital to empathy, and empathy is vital to human survival and the well-being of all people. On the other side, when students have access to stories like theirs, their lives are validated. They learn they matter. Their experience matters. When we don't see ourselves reflected in stories, we live with a deep shame. I called my deep shame my darkness. I am a neurodivergent woman. I think differently and relate with people differently and engage with the world differently. I didn't read many stories about young women like me when I was a young woman. But today, I'm thankful for the volume of books that validate my experience and remind me I'm not broken. I'm me. Neurodivergent books aren't being banned for the most part, but others are, and every kid deserves to have their experience validated. Every kid deserves to be reminded that they're not broken, they're magnificent, just the way they are. When we keep books on the shelves, when we give young people the freedom to read, we can be sure that they get that message. We find our way forward in stories that are like and unlike ours. We find ourselves in each other. My conclusion here is the same as it always is. Let young people read. Let them read what they want. Let them broaden their minds and expand their empathetic hearts. Let them gather information and stories so they can make their own decisions about the world and who they are in it. Because as a mom of young people, I'm telling you, they're pretty magnificent. Thanks for listening to my Real Talk. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for videos about books and writing and more videos like this. And sign up for my newsletter at racheltolson.com for inspiration, book recommendations, news, and writing prompts. Stay strong, and see you next time.